I sat in a room full of women who all wanted a BMW about, I don't know, 6 or 7 years ago. Every single one of them, the same car, same color, same plan, that we were going to go test drive on Saturday to quote, normalize and make it feel real, manifest the thing. And so, I totally believe in that now, especially. So I went to do the same thing and I couldn't. And I sat there with my magazine cutouts because I had also never done a vision board. This was like the first time I ever did a vision board. And I felt like absolutely nothing. And it was the day that I found out that I actually had no idea what I actually wanted. And that I had been building my whole life around the wants I'd borrowed from other people. And I just want to do a disclaimer. I don't think it's always wrong to borrow belief from somebody or to borrow let's say you're trying to manifest a certain amount of money and this person has hit their goal and has much more money than you have and you want to get to that position. I don't think it's always wrong to borrow like someone else's belief. Okay. But in the case of who you're trying to be in your actual life and the long-term goals you're trying to manifest because of who you are and what you truly want and discovering what you truly want, I do think it's a big deal, like that you don't borrow that from someone else. So if you are an ADHD entrepreneur and you're exhausted from chasing something that you can't figure out why hitting it never feels good, this video is absolutely for you, okay? You don't wake up one day and decide to live someone else's life. It actually happens slowly. You're in a room and everybody in that room wants a thing. So you want it too, because it's that hive mind setting, or it's that hive mind mentality. We all as humans deal with this, okay? Because wanting what's in the room is easier than being the one person who doesn't, right? I was trying to think, it's called a tribal mentality. It's like a tribe mentality, and we all deal with that. For our brains especially, though, it's way easier because sitting still and asking what you actually want and doing the hard work of sitting still and actually meditating and thinking through what you don't want can be genuinely uncomfortable. I know for my case, it has been. It's quiet, right? And we don't like quiet. There's nothing to do with your hands. There's no dopamine in it. So we just skip it. We grab the nearest available dream off the shelf of someone else and we run with it because running feels better than sitting. I was in an MLM at this time and that was my room, vision boards, dream boards, the whole thing. That's what they taught us. And I still learned a lot of stuff from this situation that I still take with me today. I learned so many things when I was there, but it wasn't, it was the first time I'd actually ever built a vision board. And what I learned wasn't about cars. I learned that I was faking it because I didn't know who I was and I didn't know what I wanted. So I want to talk about the Burberry dress. I wanted a Burberry dress for 7 years. And right now, today, I could pay full price for a Burberry dress, no problem. I have the money in the bank to do it. However, because of my lack mentality and my, but at the time I still had like a poverty mentality and, so I was determined to get this dress, but I was going to buy it on eBay. I was waiting and waiting and waiting because I wanted this specific dress. I'm going to show you it. It was a Burberry Brit shirt dress. Wanted it for 7 years. I finally got it on an eBay auction for $200, and it's the most I've ever spent on a piece of clothing to this day. Because I'm not a clothing person. I realized that through purchasing this dress. I realized I'm not even a clothing person. And I put it on, and I felt like, okay, that's it. Fine. I got it. 7 years of wanting. Feeling lasted like 4 minutes. So that's what I want to talk about, how borrowed want and borrowing other people's dreams feels and does. You can actually get the thing and it still doesn't land because it was never yours. You were carrying someone else's shopping bag around. You were wondering why nothing on it fit you. or in it, sorry, fit you. And the flip side is it's a little embarrassing because, I drive a Kia. I'm very proud of it. I had a Honda before. It's paid off. It's fully loaded. Gets me from point A to point B. Doesn't give me any problems. Wink, wink so far. Has like 70,000 miles on it now. I love that car because it has heated seats and I had not had that before. And it is the fully loaded version. Same thing with flying. I like to sit first class, not because I think I'm better than anyone or for the status symbol, because I want to sleep on the plane and I can't sleep in economy. And this is only really when I travel internationally. I don't care about like flights, couple hours or whatever. It's because I truly want to rest on the plane. Okay. So when I finally got honest, my real list looked nothing like the rooms list that I was in at the time. And even now, like this has been more recent that I've really discovered like what I want and what I don't want. So what I do want, for example, for me is I want to be able to travel. I want to live in other cultures, make money that comes whether I'm awake or not. I want to build a passive income machine. And I want to own a place on the beach in California. And I want to keep a home base in Colorado. And not because they're impressive, because they're useful to the life I actually want. I want to be able to have my family over because my children are now grown. As of this month, my youngest daughter is now an 18-year-old and she will be finishing high school and she'll be grown and that'll be it. And all my kids now will be moving on with their lives. But I want to have a place where my kids can come with my grandchildren, and I want to have a passive income money-making machine that I also am trying to teach other people how to do and replicate so that they can do the same thing, because I want them to be able to live their dreams also. And that way my life supports spending quality time with my grandchildren when I get them, because that is one thing I have a huge regret about, was not spending enough quality time with my children when they were younger, because I was so busy trying to make ends meet because my spouse at the time and I did not have the same money vision at all. So, and that was another thing, is I had to learn, what is my money vision? What are my ethics? What are my goals? What are my dreams? But what are my beliefs? And what is the money for? You know what I'm saying? So I really had to nail it down. Like, why am I even trying to make this money? Because I'm actually retired, so I don't have to make the money, but it's like I definitely want to make more and more money because I want to change people's lives, and I want to change my children's lives. I want to change the legacy of my own family, and I have a bigger vision now than I've ever had. And this is when the money started coming in, was when I changed my vision. It's true. I mean, the money shows up when purpose is there. So, how do you find your real list? Okay, not with a vision board. Sorry. You're going to have to regulate first. This is what I teach in my Pause, Regulate, and Launch. You cannot hear yourself while you're flooded with just so many thoughts and drama in your head. This is the part 2 that everybody skips. And it's the most important thing you have to do. I tell people, because this is what I've done, that if you want to start regulating and you can do nothing else, start by going on a 30-minute walk every morning in the sun. Hopefully you have sunlight where you're at. I even take off my glasses for like a couple minutes to let the sun come in my eyes, because you need that connection with the sun. It's scientifically proven. It's changed my life. Just hot girl walks. That's what I call them. That's what we call them in our mastermind, is hot girl walks. You're just not going to discover your deepest truths while your heart is pounding and you've got 14 tabs open. You're avoiding bills. That just reminds me I need to pay my bill to the union before I forget again. A dysregulated nervous system only knows one question: what's the emergency right now? Okay. So, and again, I'm preaching to myself right now. Get your taxes done. Get all your stuff in order. So you don't have any of that mental chatter coming at you. Okay. That's why I reorganized my house. And then when I got my house in order, and I did a video about that recently, I'll try to drop it down here. I had actually, now that I can think about it, when I calculated, $7,000 of revenue just showed up literally because I got everything in order. So before you ask yourself anything big, you need to get your body settled. Walk, cold water on your wrists, 10 slow breaths. Like there's a way to reset your vagus nerve. You can breathe in for 4, hold for 4, and then you exhale for 4. And you do that 3 times. That'll really reset your vagus nerve. You're not meditating to become enlightened. And this is why I could never stick with meditating in the past. You're doing it to lower the volume enough so you can hear your voice above everyone else's. That's what this is about. So 2-minute counts. 2 minutes is not nothing. I mean, like, even if you just do 2 minutes, like starting off and just build up on it. Like I said, when I first started walking, I think I want to say I walked for 10 to 15 minutes. And now it's over an hour and 20 minutes that I walk every morning. So you build upon things, right? You want to do a borrowed dream audit, which is next step. You want to write down everything you think you want, like all of it, messy, no editing, just brain dump. And then where did I first hear this? Okay. Some of you are going to have a name attached. It's going to be your mom. It's going to be a guy on Instagram, the room you were sitting in. It's not automatically fake, but it's borrowed until proven otherwise is what we want to think about it as, okay? And so here's the tell. If you got it tomorrow, would you want to tell? So if the answer is a specific person you're trying to impress, then that's their dream that, it's wearing your name. Now, number 3 is you want to find the value under the want. Okay. So this is the heated seats thing. Like, for me, you take each want and you ask, would that actually feel, what would I actually feel if I had this, right? For the BMW, I'd feel like I made it, I guess. And the real want is respect. I mean, I don't want a BMW. So I'm just saying, I was thinking about what this would make me feel if I wanted a BMW. First class. For me, I'd feel rested. So the real want here is rest. It's a legitimate reason. The beach house, I'd feel free. And the real want is freedom for me. And I just love being by the ocean. Like, I've been landlocked now for the last 17 years in Colorado, and I love the ocean, specifically the Pacific. There's just something about the Pacific and California that I know people have things about California, but I love California, and the weather's so similar here. The thing is, I lived in the South and I lived at the beach, or lived close to the beach near Tybee, like in Savannah. But the thing was, it's such a hot, humid heat, and it's just wears you out and wears you down. It's not the same as Colorado and California weather. So I don't know if I could ever go back to getting used to the humidity ever again. So I want you to flip it now, though. So once you know the value, you can actually get it about 9 different ways. And most of them are cheaper and faster than the version you had in your head. So I don't need the BMW. I need heated seats and a car that doesn't break. Same value, 20% the cost. This step alone is going to save you years. It's going to save you a lot of time. So step 4, you want to run tiny experiments instead of making the declarations, okay? So our brains are terrible at knowing things in theory and great at knowing things by doing, right? Let me give another example of this. So I like to paint, but I didn't realize, I thought I liked to paint more than I did that actually do. Because I thought I wanted to become a professional painter, and then I realized, no, I don't. I want to do it for hobby, but this is not, because I'm a cake designer, but it's not my passion to paint. You know what I'm saying? It's not like I want to do it as a full-time job. And I learned that through experience, through doing it, right? So if you want to live abroad, you don't sell your house. You go somewhere for 9 days and pay attention to how you feel on day 6. And so if you want to be a speaker, say yes to one small thing and see if you're energized or you're wrecked afterward. So does it give you energy or does it suck it away? You're gathering info on yourself. You're gathering data. Some of it's going to be a no. Some of it's going to be a win. It's one less wrong life you have to live for 4 years before you admit it. So, and this is where I have to say the things I always say, but ignorance can be bliss. It really can. You don't need to research for 6 months. You don't need the full picture before you move. Not knowing everything is what lets you take the first step instead of getting stuck reading about the step and planning the step, right? Now, you want to plan a little bit, but the people who get clear fastest are the ones who've tried stuff, not the ones who've studied it. That's so true. I mean, it's just true. You need to have, this is step 5, you need to have the audacity to ask out loud and expect it. And it's the hardest one. Once you know what you want, you have to say it to a person out loud with a straight face, no apology attached. Like, no, I mean it. Like, not it'd be nice someday, who knows, but this is what I want. And this is what I'm going to do. And most of us have been trained to shrink to ask, the ask before anyone else can. So we pre-reject ourselves so that nobody else gets a chance to reject us, right? So, and then we're like confused why nothing shows up. So I want you to ask yourself, or ask your partner, or ask a client, and then ask for help. Even say it out loud on the internet if you want to. But then you can expect it, not in a spooky way, not I'm going to move like this is happening, way. But you can say it with actual confidence, okay? And there's a purpose to everything you've been through. Every single little thing you've been through. I totally 100% believe that, including the 7 years you spent wanting a dress that you didn't really necessarily want. I mean, it wasn't wasted. It was the tuition, right? So if you actually do this, if you get quiet and find out what you really want, you actually may not like what you find. You may not find out the relationship that you're in is what you actually want, or the job, the city, the state, in my case, the business that you spent 3 years building isn't it for you. And that's why most people don't sit still, because they don't want to know. They don't really want to know. And it's not because they're lazy, but they already suspect what's down there. And, once you know, you can't unknow it, right? So I'm not going to tell you it's easy, but I'll tell you this. You already know. You've known for a while. The knowing already is there. It's just doing the work, whether, you look at it or not, basically. So you're choosing between knowing now or knowing in 4 more years, or with 4 more years spent on it. So it's your choice. So if you're sitting here and you've realized, you've been running on someone else's playbook, you can just start with step 1, just that one. You get your body regulated enough to hear yourself. Everything else is going to get easier from there. I promise you that. And that's also, with that said, I want to talk about my program called Pause, Regulate, and Launch in that order. You can't launch anything real while you're running on fumes and borrowed goals. So I want you to drop a comment. Tell me one thing that's on your list that actually isn't yours, that you just discovered. I'll read them, and I'll go first. The BMW, have no desire. They're all made from plastic, by the way. They're horrible. So anyway, that's my own opinion, because from what I've read and seen. So I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.